little bit of AV issues. All right, cool. So today we're gonna get into lead follow-up. Um, I think what we'll find now more than ever is that lead follow-up is so vitally important. Literally now more than ever. Ever, 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 ever. I remember many, many years ago. So I've been doing this 20 years. My first probably 10 years, you could just prospect a lot and talk to people and find people that had some level of motivation to buy or sell real estate and set the appointment. Sometimes on the first call, not all the time, but a good number of the time. These days, I feel like there's been this movement where people start their search way earlier. They have access to way more tools, online and otherwise. They're much more knowledgeable. They're much smarter, which is great. What it means is that they start the process earlier. They're preparing earlier. Listen, prices are higher than they've ever been. They have to get their loans. They're contemplating things. So, in many times, by the time when we start to talk to people, it's a little earlier on in the process, which means there's going to be a degree of lead follow-up that's absolutely necessary. We used to say, let me just admit, we used to say that about 70% of our business comes from lead follow-up. Now it's probably more like 90 or 95, especially if you're not calling people like expired listings or for sale by owners, where you typically are really going for that appointment on that first call. If you're primarily working with past clients, center of influence, hot referrals, things of that
Here it
pushing,
goes.
if you're not like pushing to have that immediate appointment from somebody, then lead follow up is going to become a very, very important part of the sales process. So, again, if you're calling expired listings and you're just hammering out calls all day, you're really trying to set your appointment on that first call. That's the whole goal. It's to set that appointment. You're not looking to rate lead follow up. You want to set that appointment. But in many cases, who are we doing business with primarily? Most agents, like the overwhelming majority of the time, most agents, they're working with, again, past clients, center of influence, friends, family, neighbors, great referrals, somebody from their old job or whatever, somebody from the community. So there really isn't this level of like really hammering an appointment, right? Trying to really get that appointment. So that's why lead follow up these days is just such a vitally important part of the process to be an effective uh, uh, follower up of people, follower up of your leads. Now, when you do lead follow up, can you just call somebody once a week? Be like, are you ready yet? Are you ready yet? Are you ready yet? That's not good lead follow up. Nobody wants to hear that. So there's definitely ways to be way more effective with lead follow up, depending on who you're prospecting, of course. Okay. So we'll start to identify some of those things and how they can impact your business in a positive way. So the first point that we're going to go over is this. Number one is be fanatical about your lead follow up. Be fanatical about your lead follow up. They gave you their number for a reason. You have their contact information for a reason. And that reason generally is that they are motivated to buy or sell real estate. So match their level of motivation with your lead follow up. Imagine you're somebody that desperately wants to buy a house or desperately needs to sell the house, right? Think about a motivated person. Think about the last time you bought something, car. Like all you could think about was buying that car, right? It's like you made it. I want to buy a car. It's like you're seeing the car all over the place. Oh my God, there's another one. There's another one. You just can't wait to buy it. That's what motivation looks like. So when somebody really is ready and they're willing, they can afford it, and they're like they just want to buy already. So they're happy when an agent steps up with that level of enthusiasm, like if they want to help me buy a house, like yes, I want to work with you because you're like enthusiastic about it. So when you have somebody that is really motivated to buy or sell real estate, be fanatical about your lead follow up. So what does that mean, being fanatical? You're really just, you're there when they're ready to transact. Being fanatical could mean, in some cases, you might call somebody every single day. If I'm calling an expired listing, let's just say, and I know there's 20 other agents calling them, I'll call them every day or twice a day. Like, hey, listen, we just talked this morning. I totally understand. You said call you back in a week, but I also know that you seem to have a high level of motivation, and there's nothing better than a very skilled agent to help you succeed in selling the home, especially based on your level of motivation. Why don't we go ahead and meet tomorrow? What time's better for you? 3 or 4 o'clock, right? Like for an expired listing, I'm doing that. Sometimes with someone that's not an expired listing, let's say they're, um, somebody that wants to sell a house and they're a friend of a friend, right? Being fanatical might be a once a week call, you know? Hey, Jessica told me to give you a call. I'm super excited about the opportunity to work with you. When's the best time I should follow up with you? Because I know you're apparently not ready yet. Tell me when I should follow up. Oh, just give me a call back in a couple of weeks, right? So I'll call them back. Let's say I'll call them in a week. Hey, just wanted to touch base again. I have some really good information for you that I wanted to share with you. Is now a good time? Listen, there's been two houses that have just been listed in your neighborhood, and I thought you might really appreciate being kept up to date as to everything that's going on right there in your community so that when you are ready to list your home, you'll really have a good understanding of values. You have a minute for me to share that information right now? Oh, sure, Aaron. Yes, thank you for the call. I appreciate that. Like that could be fanatical lead follow up, depending on the situation. But the point is, they gave you their number for a reason. Be fanatical about the lead follow up. I don't know what's going on. Jackie, do you know what's going on? Well, whatever it is, Jackie will figure out. Ah, someone's showing you. Very good. Okay, good. We're all feeling it. Next point. 90 to 95% of your appointments will come from lead follow-up, not from your first contact with these people. Remember that. 90 to 95% is from lead follow-up. So when you're talking to somebody for the first time, if you can't set the appointment, it's okay. It doesn't mean we shouldn't ask for the appointment, but just understand that if you can't get the appointment, then you move into step two, phase two, which is just strong, effective lead follow-up. So, so very important. Next point. If I'm not getting a substantial amount of business from lead follow-up, then I'm not doing a good job on my lead follow-up. The reality is that if you're finding, no, no, listen, I most of my business comes from one call. There's no follow-up. Then you got to ask yourself, how much business am I actually doing? Because all the greats, all the best of the best nationwide for years have always gotten between 70 and 90% from effective lead follow-up. So if you're not getting a lot of business, if you're not having a good lead follow-up system, say, no, no, listen, hey, one call, I set the appointment every time. Well, how many deals do you do? I do two a year with my best friends. Well, that's the reason why. There's always a reason. This just goes to really hammer the point home that being excellent and effective at lead follow-up is just vitally, vitally important to building a strong business. Next point. Remember, the most important part of lead follow-up, this is kind of an interesting point for a lot of people, so listen closely. The most important part of a lead follow-up program is having a large trash can near your desk. You must accept the fact that you will cycle through a large number of leads to achieve your goal. A trash can? Why would I throw away leads? Well, it depends on what your definition of a lead is. If you have a goal to sell a lot of homes, then you have a very strong minimum standard to what you determine a lead actually is. And if those leads, as you're searching and prospecting and looking for leads, if they don't fit in that minimum standard, you're not looking to follow up with them. If you want to sell 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 homes a year, you can't work with every single person that says, oh, I'm going to probably buy a home in the next 12, 18 months, maybe more or less. That doesn't work because you'll find 100 of those people. You can't effectively follow up with 100 people. You might say, I'm only looking for people that want to buy or sell a home in the next 30 days. And if they say they want to do something in 18 months, boom, in the trash. Not going to follow up with them. You want to put them on a drip or throw them in some other campaign, fine. But we're talking about effective strong lead follow-up. So this is an interesting point of an important tool, an important part of an effective lead follow-up system is a trash can, is being able to wash your hands of, oh yeah, I'm gonna sell probably 2, 3 years. Oh, I got a hot lead. No, you don't. 3 years. My goodness. Focus on the people that want to do business now, the next month, 2 months. They're out there as long as you look for them. Those are the people that are worth following up with effectively. We have to learn how to throw leads away because the better we become at building our business, the fewer leads we will need. That's kind of counterintuitive, isn't it? The more business I want to do, the fewer leads I need. That's right. You talk to someone doing 50 or 100 or more deals per year. Do you think they have 50 leads they're following up with? No, they got 3. Why is that? Because they're constantly searching for highly motivated people that need to do real estate in the next week or 2. They're looking for those people all the time. They're combing through, calls and door knocking and, whatever they do to go find business, referrals. And they're following up with these people because they're looking for now business. So throw leads away that don't, first of all, determine what your box is. If you're a buyer or a seller, what kind of minimum standards do you have to fit into the box of somebody that I'm going to call a lead? What are your minimum standards? If somebody says, I'm going to buy a house in the next 2 years, do you follow up with them? I don't. And I'm not saying you shouldn't, but you have to determine. If you say, I'm going to follow up with someone that's going to, anybody I talk to, if they want to do something in the next couple of years, I'm following up with them. I can tell you right now that you're not going to do much business because then everybody becomes a lead and you find yourself just following up. All the bad ones are then hiding the good ones. You can't be effective in lead follow-up if you're following up with 100 people. Now, what if your box, your buy box or your sell box is they must be in a position to sign a contract? Then you're just constantly prospecting, or 7 days, whatever the number is for you. You're constantly prospecting, looking for people that need to do business now. And then when you find someone, you might find 2 people a day that want to do something in 2 years. You might find one person per week that wants to do something in the next 7 to 10 to 15 days. But believe me, you find that one person. You think you're going to do effective lead follow-up? You think you're going to be fanatical about that lead follow-up? Hell yeah, you are, because they're ready to do something in the next 2 weeks. It's easy to be more fanatical about your about your follow-up if you actually know what you're looking for when you're prospecting. So learning to throw away leads that don't fit inside that box, boy, that is a skill that needs to be developed over time. Right, Mark? Mark and I have been working together for a long time, and we used to be greedy. Every single time we'd come across a lead, no matter who they were, especially in the higher price points. Somebody says, oh, I'm going to be selling my house, and it's a $5 million house, or an $8 million house, or a $10 million house. Just imagine how much money that I'm going to hold on to this person. And they'll do something at some point in the future. It's almost like we're talking ourselves into we're more motivated than the damn client is. But once we can actually stop being so greedy and understanding that we're not going to win them all, and they're not even all valid leads that we should be following up with, get our egos under control, just step into reality, then our success started occurring more frequently. We literally had to slow down to speed up. Go ahead, Mark.
And what I'm hearing new in right now is that so the lead follow-up, I think for a lot of us, and I'll speak for myself right now, I know I've got a lot of room for improvement on it. And it sounds, well, it's contingent upon the leads that we're finding timeline. So it's like contingent upon each other. So if the shorter their timeline is to do something, that is the more they're motivated in a shorter period of time, that kind of naturally correlates with our I don't know how to say it, but I think you got the point. Was, oh, okay, so now my lead follow-up becomes kind of easier in effect, in that they're going to actually do something. So versus, yeah, so I'm just hearing that kind of new. So yeah.
There is a direct relationship. This all ties in so beautifully. If you make a determination for yourself that, you know what, I'm going to have a stronger definition of what a lead is. In the past, if they had motivation to do something, if it was 6 months out or 12 months out, they had motivation, I'd take them. If you said to yourself, Mark, if they're not willing and able and motivated to do something in the next 30 days, I'm not going to follow up with them. Or if you said to yourself, if they don't need to sell, not just want to sell, they don't like have to sell, then I'm not interested. Like they have to have that level of motivation. I'm not saying you should or shouldn't, but if you imagine setting the bar that high, and then you're just prospecting your butt off to find these people, and you come across somebody, and he says, I can't believe you called me. I was just talking about this with my wife. Actually, I just lost my job. My son lives in Austin, Texas. He actually has a guest house. I can't afford to make my mortgage payment. Yeah, we're selling and we're moving to Austin like next month. Do I have to like encourage you to do lead follow up? No, it comes out of you naturally. You can't wait to follow up. Nobody has to coax you into doing lead follow up with leads like that. If you said to the guy, great, why don't we set an appointment? Do you want to meet tomorrow at 2, or is 4 better for you? He says, you know what? I'm actually heading out of town tomorrow for 3 or 4 days. Can you follow up with me, Monday of next week, and then I'll have my schedule. And you still try, oh, listen, why don't we set an appointment? Do you want to do it for Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, just so we have something on the schedule? No, literally, I don't have my schedule. I won't have it until Monday. Can you please call me on Monday? Do you think there's any possibility that you would miss calling that guy on Monday? Do you have to put a note into your CRM to remind you? Like, you have to write it on a card? Like, you're thinking that's all you can think about between now and Monday is calling that guy. Right. So it's very organic. You have a high minimum standard for what you call a lead, and you have a high level of motivation to do the lead follow up. You have a low minimum standard on what you call a lead, you have a very low motivation to follow up because you're following up on garbage and you know it.
And it comes back to that example again and again to we find what we're looking for. If we're looking for red VW buses, we're gonna see them, whatever, right? So
100% of the time, you find what you're looking for. Yeah, so true. So let's all do this. Take a look at the total number of leads that you have currently. Determine what your minimum standard is. Let's say it's 3 months. Let's say it's 1 month. I'm not going to, you decide. Let's say it's 30 days. how many of those people that you're following up with will sign a contract within 30 days? And if they don't sign a contract within 30 days, throw them out. Now, I'm not suggesting you do that because business is different for all people in all marketplaces. For us right now, I know we have people on our lead follow system that are not going to do something within 30 days. But like I'm thinking of one couple that's getting a divorce. They 100% are going to sell their house. I've already met with them. They're great people. I believe we'll work together. I'm going to follow up with them. If it takes 3 months, it takes 3 months because there's a level of certainty that I have. So I'm not suggesting just, you know, cut off your nose to spite your face. Like, don't just make, I'm doing this. I'm getting rid of all. We're not trying to disqualify leads that are good, you know, by motivated leads. We're not looking to do that, but take this opportunity to go through all the leads that you have and just ask yourself a question. Are these people going to buy and sell or not? And if I'm making up stories in my head, I don't care if it's $1 million home or a $5 million home and it's a $30,000 commission check. Don't talk yourself into them being motivated if they're actually not. Great time to just do an audit of all your leads that you have. You know what? I shouldn't be following up with that guy. I've been following up with him for, you know, 9 months, and he's not any closer to doing something. He's just wasting my time. In fact, every time he shows up on my CRM to call him, I don't even want to call him because I know it's a wasted call. Get rid of him. Nothing wrong with that. Once you do, this is kind of what's interesting. Once you put a minimum standard in place, let's say you said to yourself, I'm only going to work with people that are going to buy and sell within 30 days. Today is October 24th. So on this lead, I'm putting a date of November 24th. If he or she doesn't buy or sell within 30 days, I'm throwing that lead in the trash. And on that last day, I'm going to say to them, you know what? Call me when you're ready. I don't want to keep bothering you, you know? So hold on to my number. When you're ready, just give me a call. I'll be happy to help. If you knew that you had a 30-day fuse on those people, then naturally your level of effectiveness and motivation and aggressiveness would naturally go up. If you knew that in 30 days or in 15 days or in 7 days, listen, if I can't convert this lead in 7 days, throwing them out. You think I'm going to raise my level of intensity with lead follow-up on the calls that I make in the next 7 days with that lead? Hell yeah, I am. Because I know they're going in the trash either way. Either I'm setting an appointment or they're going in the trash. So now I'm really ratcheting up my level of intensity. I'm really pushing for that appointment. I don't know how many of you on the call have ever been to a Mike Ferry prospecting school. Basically, Mike's headquarters is in Mark, you've been to one. Oh no, Sean, you went to one. That's right. Mark, you haven't. So basically, you go to Mike's headquarters in Las Vegas. There's a big room with probably, I want to say, what, Sean, 50 stand-up desks in there, let's say. Agents from all over the country fly in and you prospect for 2 days straight, 8 hours a day together. You're all standing up, there's music playing, you're on the phones just hammering out calls. And you set 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 10 appointments per day. Why is that? Because you're amongst your peers and you just adopt a different mindset. You don't take no for an answer. You ask a second and third and fourth time for that appointment because that's the kind of the culture that you're steeped in. You want to put a check mark on the board where your name is on appointment set. You know that people are coming in and plugging into your headset and listening to your call. So you kind of show up in that way. It's all in here. So believe me, if you put a fuse on how long you are willing to keep those leads in your pipeline for, you will naturally ratchet up your level of intensity to set those appointments. So play with it a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. Think about that one lead that, God, I keep calling this guy and he's just not committing. Sometimes you got to get sick and tired of being sick and tired and say, you know what? I'm just going to open up my skill set on this guy. I'm going to ask him 10 different ways to set an appointment. I'm really just going to keep going. I'm just sick and tired of being sick and tired. And you just do it. And one of two things is going to happen. Either we're going to set that appointment or I'm going to really have a good understanding on why he doesn't want to meet with me. You'll really get to the bottom of it. Why kick the can down the road and make 10 lead follow-up calls when you can do it in one? Hey, Sean, can you just give me a call back in a few months? And okay, sure, call you back in a few months. Bye. Or hold on a second. I can totally do that. Tell me what's happening in a few months. Like, let's not get off the phone. Let's really get to the bottom of this. Let's dig deeper. It's incredible when you start to really get a little bit pissed off. You know, that sick and tired of being sick and tired. It is astonishing kind of things that we can accomplish. Last week, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired about being fat. So I did juicing for 5 days. I didn't eat any food. I just juiced for 5 days, lost like 11 pounds, 12 pounds, whatever it was. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was like, you know what? Enough of this shit already. It's not a normal thing that we do. Just, oh, I just won't eat for 5 days. I'll just drink juice, right? But I was like, God, I'm sick of this. So sometimes lead follow up, very, very similar. Let's do one more point and then we'll end it on this last point. So most agents have too many leads. Most agents have too many leads. And there's very distinct disadvantages of having so many leads. So let's just go over the disadvantages of having too many leads because I have too many leads right now. Some of those people are just not motivated. I shouldn't be following up with them, right? So I'm literally talking to myself as much as we're talking together. But there's some very distinct disadvantages of having too many leads. Again, this is so counterintuitive for so many people. More leads, more leads. We need more leads. Sometimes you need less leads. Why is too many leads a problem? Number one, bad leads hide the good ones from you. If you have somebody that wants to sign a contract in the next 3 days, that's a hot lead. If you have 30 other people that want to sign contracts in the next 3 years, you're cycling through all these people. Oh, Jim, you looking to do no 3 years? Okay, good. I'll call you back in a year or two. We'll check. Okay, bye. Oh, hey, Mary, 8 months? Sure, I'll call you back. Let me call you back in 6, 7. No problem. Bye. While I'm making these calls, this guy that has to do something in 3 days, I'm missing out. I'm missing out. So the bad leads hide the good ones. That's reason number one that you don't want the one disadvantage to not have to having too many leads. Disadvantage number two, if most of our leads are not great ones, the urgency for lead follow-up is diminished. If you have the disadvantage of having too many leads means you lose your motivation to really aggressively go after that lead follow-up. Imagine if you had 4 leads and all of them, you knew beyond the shadow of a doubt they were ready to sign a contract this week. It's Tuesday. By Friday, they were going to sign a contract. Would you need any pushing to do lead follow-up? Hell no. I'm all over these people, right? Hey, Phil, it's Aaron. Wanted to check in. How's it going? Listen, I know you're ready to sign a contract this week. I want to schedule an appointment to meet with you. And I know you're getting a call from a ton of other agents, and I don't want you to get stuck with one of those crummy agents. Honestly, though, I really believe I can serve you at the highest level possible. So when should we get together? You want to do that today at 4 or tomorrow at 4 be better? Aaron, I got to run. I literally am stepping into a meeting. No problem, Phil. I'll call you back later tonight. Later tonight. Hey, Phil, it's Aaron. Hope the meeting went well. I wanted to follow up. I don't want to miss this opportunity. I truly want to serve you. When shall we meet? You want to do tomorrow at 3 or is 4 better? Like, believe me, Phil signing a contract this week, you don't have to tell me twice to follow up with this guy, right? So again, if most of our leads are not great leads, the urgency for lead follow-up is diminished. It's the opposite of Phil. It's the people that say, "Nah, there's no rush." It's ruining my skill set in lead follow-up because there's not urgency to it. So it's like just lowering the bar, lowering the bar, the lowest common denominator. It's just ruining the system. Third disadvantage to having too many leads. It's a huge waste of time to be tracking and calling people on a regular basis who are not going to be moving in the near future. So it's just a time waster. Like too many leads, too many non-motivated leads, just wasting your time. And all of you, your time is so valuable. It's extraordinarily valuable. Don't waste it on calling crummy leads that aren't going to do anything anyway. And the last reason for the disadvantage to having too many leads is you get what you're looking for. Like Mark said, you get what you're looking for. So if you're constantly calling and looking for people that want to do something, if you're under this mindset, if you want to do something next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, great. That's what you'll find. You get what you're looking for. So if you're looking for an appointment, if you're looking for a hot lead, you'll find those things. But not if you have too many leads in your system, not if it's just overflowing with leads. People talk about all the time these internet leads. My gosh, I could sign up for this service. Send me 20 leads a day. That sounds amazing. Well, how much is it? It's only $100 a month. Wow. Uh, 20 leads for $100? Are you kidding? A day? That means each week I'll have 140, 150 leads. That's 600 a month. That's 7,000 leads a year. How many? Are you kidding me? Sounds awful. Give me one lead a day. That sounds more effective. So I hope this has helped to really kind of reimagine the importance of what a lead is. And then once we find a good one, also the importance of just like super highly effective, strong lead follow-up. Remember, if they're motivated, they appreciate lead follow-up. They appreciate an aggressive person following up like you can't even imagine. Imagine just imagine being a buyer, right? And you have the money. You desperately want to buy a house. And you can't find a damn agent that's just helping you to do that. You call an agent, you don't get a call back. Like, let's think about the opposite of good lead follow-up, terrible lead follow-up. Hey, this is Aaron. I'm interested in buying your house over here on 123 Main Street. Just give me a call back. I'm a cash buyer. I love it. I want to write an offer today. 3 days later, 4 days later. Hey, Aaron, this is Jim. Just got your message about the house. Yes, I've been trying to reach you, Jim. Yeah, it sold yesterday. I'm so sorry. I forgot to call you back. Okay, that's not what I'm looking for in an agent, right? Yes, Aaron, we can absolutely help you. Let's meet at the property. Like, can you be there in 15 minutes? Yes, I can be there. I'll leave work now. Like, you're motivated. That lead follow-up is like a blessing. So clients love it. Let's open up our mics for a minute. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or anything they want to share with regard to lead follow-up or anything about the real estate business? Just things that you might want to bring to the floor. A question about schedule or prospecting or mindset or whatever you're dealing with currently in the business. Anything at all. Cool. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for your participation. I really look forward to this time with you guys every week, and I appreciate you being here. And we'll see you next week. Have a great week. Go crush it.